See it down there? The railroad tie. A bunch of them down right there, you can see.
And this is Lloyd's Creek on the Sassafras. Tell us a little bit, Kurt, how this is different than the fish we were catching at Red Mill and Lake Como.
Well, besides the whole current aspect, which plays a big role in these fish, just different types of cover. In the ponds, they warm up a lot faster. They don't have the influence of the rivers and of the ocean on the water. So your water temperature can really get up high. I'd say the water temperature is probably in your low 60s right about now. We're here, we're in the low 50s. So you don't have as much emerging vegetation. Nice. Oh! Talking to you. That was a nice fish there. A couple pounds. But you don't have as much emerging vegetation. The grass doesn't grow up as soon. Hardly any lily pads that grow up. There you go, another one. There's a couple of them stacked up there. It's hard to set the hook from that angle. The other one was a little nicer than this one. Ooh,
that's a nice one.
Fat little. The other one was actually nicer than that one. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking there for you guys. Oh,
Sharp spinnerbait, isn't it?
Those Terminators have the sharpest hooks in the world. It's a female. One of the first females come in here. Back down into the green water that you came from. 2 in a row off that same spot. There's a couple of them stacked up there. See, this wall moves out a little bit. It's hard to set the hook at this angle, boy. It's really tough. That's 3 fish we've had here in the last, I don't know, 10 minutes. That tide's getting to the right position. Fish are going to turn on a little better. See, when we came in, the tide really wasn't pulling, and Chuck was catching his fish a little bit further back. They were cruising up in that emerging grass, but as soon as that current started to pull, all those fish that were kind of moving around pulled right back out to this wall and hold on the cover. So we ought to be able to pull one off the dock at the mouth before we leave here. You can tell by the way it was swimming out. See, I normally work it to the right like this, but I was just trying to keep it as close as I could, so I was the angle of the boat, I was trying to make it so he could cast. If I got out a little further, it'd be tougher for him to parallel it. This way he can just cast up the side the same way. Work the opposite side. On a tournament, I'd be a little further, in front of the boat would be a little further out, so I'd be working the bait at me like that, so when I set the hook, I'd set it to the right side. There we go. Zooming out now. See it right under the boat?
Mm-hmm.
Zooms out here. See how you can catch those fish right on top of them and they don't even know you're there as long as you're quiet? I had the trolling motor speed turned down to basically where the blade is just going like this, just barely moving you along. Just to position the front of the boat, really not even actually moving.
Well, now that's the advantage of having a trolling motor that has a variable speed control, isn't it, Kurt?
Yeah, back of the boat there. Yes, it is. Some of the older trolling motors that we used to have only had 1, 2, 3, 4, and some 5 speeds. This has multiple. You can fine tune it where you can turn it up just to the amount that you want to not spook the fish, but enough to move you along. Motor Guide Digital also really that digitally encased head on that bait, on that that digitally encased head on that Motor Guide trolling motor. You can bang that thing right into stumps, sticks, right into the bottom. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Motor Guide. It's like 3 pounds or so. I don't think. But it was definitely bigger than the ones I've caught. So that 1 on the crankbait and then 2 in a row there on the spinnerbait, and he had 2 on the first pass with the spinnerbait and then caught 1 out of the same tree that I caught the 1 out of the crankbait. They hit in predictable spots. They've hit there every year since I've fished here. That's the one cool thing about rivers. It's not like lakes where every day you never know where the fish is going to hit because of the current and because of the way the structure is so isolated. If you catch a bass there, chances are there'll be another one there and you'll be able to catch them there for years to come. Which is a great thing once you know the spots, but that can be why it's very hard for guys that have never been here to come here and locate fish because they're even though you have all this water, thousands and thousands of acres of water, the fish only hit, what is this, a 200-yard stretch of bank? We didn't catch another fish anywhere but on this 200-yard stretch of bank, so that's why it's important to know where that is.